Good morning, everyone. I'm just ready to jump into everything. I just want to say one more time, good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. How you doing? Happy Father's Day. And I want to just say that one more time. Happy Father's Day. At least give me a round of applause. I'm a father. Happy Father's Day. Thank you very much. Give all the dads a round of applause. If you're online right now, give your dad a round of applause. I just want to say everyone in the seats and everyone watching online, I am so glad you're here today because today, man, I've been praying about this day for like 2 weeks now. I've been praying about this message in particular for 2 weeks. Not just this message, but the one that's coming next week because they go together. And I'm really excited, man. I'm praying that as we continue to dig through John, God will show us why love came down. God will show us what he has done and what he has been doing. So before we jump into John, quick story, embarrassing story time. All right, 8th grade. Anybody remember 8th grade? Yeah, 8th grade was awkward, all right? So it was the end of 8th grade year, basically, end 8th grade year. And we had this assembly. And we all go to this assembly, and all the high school comes down to the middle school, and they go and hype up about high school. Like, high school's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be great. And they're hyping up high school. And honestly, those people overpromise and underdeliver. High school sucked. I didn't like high school. Maybe you liked high school, but I did not like high school. But they were all hyped about high school. And as they were talking about high school, all the different programs would come up and they will talk about different things, different programs. The first program they'll talk about is like, hey, this is our nursing department. This is our foreign language department. This is our drama department. And none of those departments got my attention. But one department got my attention. And I'm not sure what it was. Maybe it was the camo. Maybe it was the marching and the saluting. Maybe it was the fact that they had these wooden guns and they would spin them around and throw them in the air and catch them. And I was like, oh, that's amazing. Like, this group got my attention. That was the JROTC, all right? I was like, the Marines, yes, that's for me. And in 8th grade, man, I was like, yes, I want to be a Marine. I want to join JROTC. And if you know me now, you know that's weird that I'm saying that. But in 8th grade, man, I was down. I wanted it. Fast forward to 9th grade year, I signed up for JROTC. It took me about a week to realize something. I hate JROTC. It's the worst thing ever. No one should ever do it, okay? It was horrible. It's just people barking orders at you, whether it be a teacher or a student, barking orders at you, telling you what to do, how to do it, stopping in the hallway saying, your dress is not right, your camo's not right, your suit's not right. It was horrible. I hated JROTC. And there was 2 things in particular that I hated about JROTC. The first thing is kind of embarrassing. I hated PT. And I think PT basically means physical fitness test, whatever. I hated PT, and the reason why I hated PT is because I hated chin-ups. I was a skinny, scrawny, weak kid, and I could not do a chin-up to save my life my 9th grade year. Not one chin-up. So every Monday and Thursday, PT day, we will go to PT. They call my name, Appolon. I'll go to the bar. I'll try as hard as I can. And I couldn't do a chin-up. It was super embarrassing. I don't know why. It was just like everyone feels sad for me, right? Everyone feels sad for me. I feel sad for me. I couldn't do a chin-up. I can do chin-ups now, though. I can do chin-ups now. But back then, I could not do chin-ups, man. I was like, why am I in JROTC? I should have went to the nursing program. At least there'd be cute girls there. But I was stuck in JROTC. The second thing I hated about JROTC, I hated authority. I hated authority. And it wasn't just the teachers, man. It was the students, too. You give a sophomore in high school a rank and some power, and they're on a power trip. Like, they're stopping you everywhere, and they're trying to tell you what to do, and I hated it so much. I hated it. I quit. I'm like, I looked at people, and I'm saying, man, we are in high school. It is not that serious. We're not going to war tomorrow. Calm it down. But they wouldn't. They were just like, I remember one time, this junior in high school made me do push-ups in the hallway because my camo got untucked when I was in chemistry class. And I was sick of it. I was done with it. It was stupid. I hated JRTC. I don't care what you said about it. It's horrible, okay? Some of you might love it. I hated it. And I hated authority. And I think freshman year is the start of me hating authority. I had a problem with authority, okay? because I saw authority, and I saw people abusing their authority, people not using it right, and I hated it. And I'm going to tell you something right now. We all have a problem with authority. We all have a problem with authority. And I feel that the reason why we have a problem in authority is because we know that authority comes with power, right? And the great Uncle Ben said, with great power comes great responsibility. Some of you got that, some of you didn't, it's okay. That's what the great Uncle Ben said. With great power comes great responsibility. And what we see time and time again, despite that being true, people abuse their power. People abuse their authority. There you go, Paige. You just got it right now. People abuse their power. People abuse their authority, and it's horrible. It takes you take a 2-second Google search. Search Google, and you will find examples. You'll find people with authority, with power, and they take that power, they take that authority, and instead of using it to serve, to cultivate, to help people flourish, to protect, they use it for their own selfishness and their own gain. It's horrible, man. You can see it all over, man. You can see, go on your news feed, check it out, and you'll find a story about a teacher. You find a story about a politician. You find a story about a coach. You find a story about a police officer. You find a story about someone with authority and power. And instead of protecting people, instead of serving them, instead of helping them flourish, they use their power for their own needs. They use their authority for their own needs. And that affects us. Every time we go and we hear another story about someone that should be trusted, and we see that they abuse their power, they abuse their authority. Yeah, I don't trust authority anymore. And it's not just teachers, cops, coaches. It's also pastors. Let's call it pastors too. We can find stories. We can Google stories about pastors who use their influence, who use their authority for their own gain. They use their clout. They use their clout, and they use people. Sometimes it's sexually, sometimes it's selfishly, sometimes it's for their own ego. They just use people. And you would think in all places, if you can find somewhere to be safe, it will be a church. But man, the story comes on over and over again, man. It's like, we can leave right now. We hear a story about how a pastor has abused his position. So, because of all this, as a result of all this, we all have a problem with authority. We all have a lack of trust of authority. We are people who are slow to trust people in power. The more powerful you see an organization, the more powerful you see someone, the slower you are to trust them. And we have evidence. Our life is evidence. The news is evidence. Our experience is evidence that people in authority shouldn't be trusted. This is how we live. This is the air that we breathe, man. People in authority should not be trusted. People in authority should have their authority stripped away. People in authority cannot be depended on. And what we do naturally, every single one of us, what we do naturally is when we see someone in authority, we don't find a reason why to trust them. We find the reasons why not to trust them. You come to church, you're like, I'm going to wait for them to ask for the offering. That's why I can't trust them, because they're always about money. Man, you're always looking for a reason why not to trust people in authority. But this is really, really important. We have to, this is really, really important. It's really, really sad, because I feel like that shouldn't be the way it is, right? If we give people power to help people flourish, to help protect, to help serve, it shouldn't be a way that we just don't trust authority, but it's sadly the way it is. And side note, that's what for me at this church, my prayer is that we continue to grow and show the community that they can trust us. That we continue to grow and show people that they can trust us, not just by what we say, but what our actions. And I hope and I keep praying that over time, more and more and more, our actions will show that we could be trusted. It has to be shown in us over time. But for now, here's this thing I want to say. We need to realize our problem with authority. We need to acknowledge it, because the same problem we have with authority, based on the people who have sinned against us, the people who have done wrong against us, the same problem we have with authority affects the way we view Jesus. It's holding us back from the life that Jesus wants to bring in us. Because we have a problem with authority, we don't fully go into Jesus. We are slow to trust Jesus. We are slow to say that what he says is true. We are slow to believe in. We're slow to just say, I want to rest in you, God, because you have your reasons. They are legit. You have been sinned against. You have been wrong against. You have seen it. And now you are just slow to trust, and I'm with you. Even when I say this statement, we need to trust the authority of Jesus, I go, ew. I don't like that sentence. I don't like putting Jesus, I love Jesus, and authority in the same sentence. I don't like it. It rubs me the wrong way. But if we don't see, critically important, if we don't see what Jesus does with authority, if we don't understand that Jesus has authority for a reason, if we don't see how Jesus flexes his muscle and uses his power, man, it's going to hold us back. Because we can't be a people that are slow to trust Jesus. None of us can. We cannot be a people who are slow to trust Jesus. We must be able to trust Jesus. And the amazing thing in John chapter 6, verse 1 to 21, is going to show us what Jesus does with his power. What does he do with his power? How does Jesus flex his muscle? How does Jesus use his power? So if you have a church background, these stories are going to be very familiar to you, but I just want you to look at them in new eyes. So can you guys jump to John chapter 6? All right? I'm telling you right now, there's a way that Jesus uses his power and his authority that's different than everyone else. Because Jesus is perfection. He is the perfection we're looking for creation, and there's a way that he uses his power that's different from everyone else. So when we go to John chapter 6, we're going to come up to the story, all right? And this is one of those amazing stories, so check it out. John chapter 6, verse 1. After this, Jesus went to the other side of the Sea of Galilee, which is the Sea of Tiberias. So for you guys who know Pastor Tim preached a message last week on John chapter 5. Now we're about a year and a half later in John chapter 6. So for a year and a half, Jesus has been doing things in John chapter 6, right? He's been working on things, all right? And this is the period of time where Jesus is a rock star. Everyone loves Jesus around this time, except for the Pharisees. But most people all love Jesus during this time. So let's go to verse 2. And a large crowd was following him because they saw the signs he was doing. So you got this crowd, and this crowd is following Jesus. Why is this crowd following Jesus? Because they love Jesus? Because they want to submit to his authority? Why is this crowd following Jesus? Keep reading verse 2. And a large crowd was following him because they saw the signs that he was doing on the sick. They were not following Jesus because they loved Jesus. They were not following Jesus because they were like, oh, you're so awesome. They were not following Jesus because they wanted to fall under his authority. They were following Jesus because Jesus was doing some cool stuff. He was doing signs, he was doing miracles, and they were following Jesus. And they were intrigued on the outside, not fully following. They were intrigued by Jesus. They're like, man, look what he's doing, man. Look what he's doing. And something about what Jesus was doing made them want to say, I want to follow him. But look at this. Jesus, they didn't follow him because they wanted him to be God. They followed him because he was doing these miracles to the sick. If you think about this, they follow him for their own entertainment. So here's what Jesus does. Jesus sees these guys follow him, right? Okay? He sees guys follow him. He doesn't go, you guys are not following me because you want me. He doesn't do that. He doesn't tell them to go away. Jesus lets them follow him. Jesus has this thing. He cares for them. He lets them follow him from the outside. He says, I know you guys see my authority. I know you guys see my power. I'm not going to rebuke you because you follow me just for my authority and my power. I'm not going to rebuke you because you just follow me for the miracles. I'm going to let you keep following me. And not only am I going to let you follow me, I'm going to show you guys, everyone in this crowd, how much I care about you. Look at the story. Keep going. Verse 3. Jesus went up to the mountain, and there he sat down with his disciples. Okay? He's about to show them how much he cares about them. Verse 4. Now the Passover, the feast of Jews, was at hand. Very interesting, okay? Passovers. There are 3 Passovers in Jesus' life. The first Passover, he said, hey, he went and he threw up the temple. He broke the temple up, right? He made whips. He whipped people. He smashed tables. He just went crazy. That's the first Passover. The second Passover is this one. He's about to do a miracle. The third Passover, he goes and dies. That's more next week, but this right now, just know there's 3 Passovers. We'll learn more about that next week. Let's go to verse 5. Lifting up his eyes then and seeing that a large crowd was coming towards him, Jesus said to Philip, where are we to buy bread so that these people may eat? He said this to test him, for he himself knew that what he would do himself. So Jesus goes, hey, I'm going to test you guys. Check this out. Hey, where can we go buy some bread for these people to eat? Like, where can we go get some bread so we can feed everyone? And Philip's response is, Philip answered him, 200 denarii worth of bread would not be enough for each of them to get a little. So Peter's saying, hey, if I had 8 months of my salary right now, I could not buy enough bread for these people. Plus, they're in the hillside. There's no place to go buy bread. So Jesus says, hey, look at these guys right here. They've been following me all day. There's about 5,000 of them, plus their wives, plus the children. They've been following me all day. Listen to me. Watch me do all these miracles. They're not really about me. They're about my miracles. But look at them, okay? Anyway, look at them. I care about them. I don't mind them coming near on the outside looking at me. I want them to see that. And now I want to care for them. So, hey, Philip, I know what I'm going to do, but Philip, how can I feed these guys? And Philip's like, man, if we had 8 months of salary, we couldn't feed these guys. That's a lot of money. Here's what happens next. Okay, this is my favorite part of the story. One of the disciples, Andrew, Simon Peter's brother, said to him, there's a boy here who has 5 barley loaves and 2 fishes. Look at his faith. Look at his faith, man. It's some crazy faith. Jesus says, hey, we got to feed these people, right? We got to feed all these people, right? So Andrew went out to the crowd to find food, right? What did Andrew find? He found a Lunchable. He found 5 loaves, 2 fishes. Andrew's like, man, I seen Jesus done some crazy things. Jesus can use this, right? So Andrew picks up the basket and he goes to Jesus. Jesus, hey, Jesus, look, there's a boy here who has 5 barley loaves and 2 fishes. Man, Andrew is so full of faith. Jesus, look what I found. I know you can use this. Jesus, I know you can use this, right? But look at his faith. His faith doesn't last a sentence. He goes, Andrew, Simon Peter's brother, said to him, there is a boy here who has 5 barley loaves and 2 fishes. But what are they going to do for so many? He started thinking about it. He's like, wait a minute. Can Jesus really use that? Minute. Like his faith was there, right? His faith was there. He's like, he got the bread, he got the fish from the little boy, he took it up, he brought it to Jesus, like, hey, Jesus, look what I got. Wait a minute, this is stupid. This ain't gonna work. Now, how does Jesus react to Andrew? Does Jesus go, Andrew, man, you don't know my power. You don't know what I can do. Andrew, man, what are you doing? Rebuke him. Does Jesus get mad at Andrew? Does Jesus use his power and authority to beat him down? Does Jesus says, Andrew, why are you so stupid? Does he do that? No. Here's what Jesus does. Jesus says, watch this, Andrew. You had faith. You lost your faith. But watch this. Look at verse 10. Jesus says, have the people sit down. Now, there was much grass in the place, so the man sat down, about 5,000 in number. Remember, 5,000 people plus their wives plus their children. Some people say there were 12,000. Some people say there were 20,000. But there's a lot of people. So the man sat down, about 5,000 number. Verse 11, Jesus took the loaves, and when he gave them thanks, he distributed them to those who were seated. So also the fish, and as much as they wanted. And when they have eaten their fill, he told his disciples, gather up the leftover fragments, that nothing may be lost. So they gathered them up and filled 12 baskets with fragments from the 5 barley loaves left by those who have been eaten. I need to calm down. I'm about to get really hyped up. Because when people preach this message, it gets on my nerves. Okay, I need to calm down. Seriously, I need. When people preach this message, they always talk about the miracle. And they always go, all right, guys, don't you see now, guys? Just bring whatever you have and give it to God, and he will use it. The only problem with that is that totally misses the whole point of the story. The point of the story is not give whatever you have to God, and he will use it, and he will multiply it. Because again, what that does, if that's the point of the story, that puts it back on you. You don't want it to be put back on you. The whole point of the story is not give what you got to God and he will use it and he will multiply it. No, the point of the miracle is to point to the miracle maker. The miracle is not about you. It's not about me. It's not about what he's going to do in your life. It doesn't start there. It can get there, but it doesn't start there. The miracle is about Jesus. The sign points to the sign maker. The miracle points to the miracle maker. And what Jesus is doing right there to these people who are on the outside, who don't really care about his mission, who are just here to watch a show and to be entertained and to see signs and wonders. What he does to those people, he doesn't beat them down. He doesn't kick them. He doesn't rebuke them. He cares for them and feeds them. And in feeding them, he's showing them something. I have power and authority over creation. You see this bread right here? This bread is here today, gone tomorrow, but I'm the bread of life. You'll see that next week. I'm the bread of life. What he's doing is he's pointing them to him. With his power, with his authority, he doesn't beat them down. He draws them in. He gives them another miracle that points to him, that points to him as life. He just gives them another miracle to say, hey, look at me, look at me, look at me. But y'all get caught up. I get caught up in this bogus story, that the story is about you and the fact that you took your bread and your fish and you gave it to Jesus and he multiplied. That story is not about you. It's about Jesus. And if you live like the story's about you, no wonder you find this thing so hard. Because you think it's about you bringing your talents and bring your gifts and bring your abilities and bring your resources to God. And then God going, oh my goodness, thank you so much. No. The story is about Jesus saying, come to me, rest in me, be with me. I am life. I am everything. I will redeem. I will bring grace. That is the story of the whole Bible. The story is how as you rest with him, he walks with you. As you rest with him, you become like him. And when you become like him, man, you become like who God created you to be. People are out here living out false gospels, thinking that it's all about them. It's all about you. It's all about how you obey, how much faith you have. It's all about you. No, it's not all about you. It's all about him. And when he saves you, he points to himself so that you keep running towards him. And when he brings a miracle in your life, he points to himself so you run towards him. Don't lose the gospel. Don't make it be Jesus plus what you bring equals everything. The gospel is Jesus plus nothing is everything. If you hear any other gospel, please walk out of that church right away. Jesus plus nothing equals everything. So my favorite pastor, Matt Chandler, out in Village says this: I think the most astonishing thing in this passage is not that he took a Lunchable and fed 12,000 people. I think what is astonishing is what he's pointing to. When you see someone with skill, and someone with skill, with good, like woodworking skill, goes and builds an awesome table, what's amazing isn't the table. What's amazing is the skill that he has. And here's the thing, if you hold on to the table as it's amazing, you lose the person with the skill. He walks off. All you have is one table. You just won. No, you didn't win anything. But if you hold on to the skill of the person who made the table, now you have tables and chairs and ottomans and cabinets. You have all these things. And I'm telling you, the thing that's wrong in the Bible Belt, the South, the church, is that we keep trying to hold on to the table instead of holding on to the person who made the table. We keep trying to worship creation instead of worshiping Creator. And that's what he's saying. He's like, look at me. So here's what Jesus does with his power and his authority. He draws people in. He draws them in. And he doesn't care if you're on the outside. He doesn't care if you're here for wrong reasons. He doesn't care if you're here because your dad made you come here, your mom made you come here. He doesn't care if you're here because you just, you said your mom that you would come, and then you came. He doesn't care if you're here by accident. He doesn't care if you just started watching on Facebook and you started live streaming, you stop and you watch. He doesn't care why you're here. He's drawing you in to show you that he's going to change you. He's going to bring you life. He is the bread of life. This is what he does, man. We can't lose that. But we keep clinging to a table instead of clinging to the one who makes the table. He flexes to draw. So it's Father's Day, right? I feel like as a father, we have tensions in our hearts, man. We have tension in our hearts. I feel like every dad out there, you have tension in your heart. You have tension. Am I raising my kid right? Am I being too hard or am I being too soft? Was I too harsh or should I hold my words back? Am I giving too much or am I giving too less? Am I spending enough time? Man, you have all these tensions inside of you. And what the Holy Spirit does, it pulls at the tension. It pulls at the tension. Like, yeah, you're worried about it. Are you too hard, too soft? It pulls at the tension to draw you in and say, you want to know how to be just right? You want to know how to be a perfect balance of grace and truth? I'm grace and truth. Come in towards me. Every tension that every dad is feeling right now, when you can't sleep at night, I don't know if I'm the only one sometimes, I just can't sleep at night. I'm worried about someone busting into my house, gotta protect my family. Every tension that you feel, when you feel like I'm fathering from a father wound, every tension that you feel is the Holy Spirit drawing you in, saying, I am the ultimate father. Come to the ultimate father. I'm gonna show you how to have life. Come rest in me. But instead, what you do is you find a verse, you find a principle, you try to use that principle, and you hold on to the principle. My precious principle. Instead of going, no. I don't want a principle. I want him. I don't want one verse. I want him. I need to move on. I'll be here forever. He draws you in. He shows you life. And here's verse 14 and verse 15, because they're still missing the point. When the people saw the sign that he has done, they said to him, this is indeed the prophet who has come into the world. Perceiving then that they were about to come and take him by force to make him king, Jesus withdrew again to the mountain by himself. These guys missed the point. They want a king. They want someone to come and kick Roman out of the Jewish lands. That's what they want. And they want Jesus to fit into whatever they want him to fit to. Jesus like, no. That's not how it works, man. I'm okay if you be on the outside, but you can't take me and force me to fit into your box. I want you to come to me and to my plan, not try to make me fit into your plan. They wanted him to be king. They were tired of the Roman Empire. They wanted him to take over. It's like, no. And what so many of us do, myself included, is you say you tried Jesus, and I say you lie. Because what you did was you try to take Jesus and force him into your box, your tiny box. And the God of the infinite universe does not fit in your tiny box. You're not taking him in. He's inviting you in towards a bigger box. And we miss that. But they're still trying to be like, hey, Jesus, I want you to fit in the box. And here's the thing. He's not mad. He just says, you know what? Let's take a break. I'm going to go by myself in the mountains real quick. You guys figure this out. He's not mad. So even if you're right now, you're like, man, I still haven't fallen in line. I still haven't believed in God. Like, God is so mad at me. No, God is not mad at you. All wrath that God has had towards you was satisfied on the cross. He's still drawing you in. That's why you're still hearing it. That's why you're still here. That's why even behind the screen right now, you're hearing God saying, I love you, come in. So we see that God cares for those on the outside. And with his power and authority, he draws those on the outside in, right? But what does he do to the people that are inside? People who believe in him. Let's go to another story that's really bad, that people quote wrong, but we're going to do it right today. Jesus walks on water. I'm going to read the whole story. When evening came, his disciples went down to the sea, got into a boat, and started across the sea to Capernaum. It was now dark, and Jesus had not yet come to them. The seas became rough because a strong wind was blowing. When they had rowed about 3 or 4 miles, they saw Jesus walking on the sea and coming near the boat, and they were frightened. But he said to them, "It is I, do not be afraid." Then they were glad to take him into the boat, and immediately the boat was at land to which they were going. So he's not just drawing people on the outside in, he's drawing people on the inside. These guys are on a boat. Jesus goes up to a mountain by himself. They're on a boat. They're sailing away, okay? All of a sudden, the storm comes. Crazy storm, raging storm, wind, waves, out of nowhere. The storm is coming to take them out. Back then, when people saw the sea meant death. If a storm came when you're in the sea, you're going to die. So what do they think when they're in the middle of the storm? We're going to die. And then as they're thinking they're going to die, what do they see? What is that? It's a ghost. We are going to die. They're freaking out because now they see a ghost. We're going to die. And Jesus goes, hey, guys, it's me. He doesn't go, hey, you bunch of dummies, it's me. Hey, where's your faith? Come on, get it right. He doesn't do that. He goes, hey, guys, it's me. In fact, in a different telling the story, he says, hey, Peter, you want to come out? And Peter comes out to him. He uses his power, his authority to draw people who are already in, who are close, even closer. He doesn't abuse his power. He doesn't abuse authority. He draws them in closer. He gets on the boat and he goes, stop. And the storm stops. Now again, we get wrapped around the miracle. But every miracle points to the miracle maker. And at the end of this, these guys are not in awe of the storm. They're not in awe of the storm being over. They are in awe of the one who has power over the storm. Look, man, I get it. People with authority, man, we see it so over and over again. We see people jacking up, misusing their powers. I get it. But when you begin to trust in Jesus, man, you see that he's using his authority, using his power, using his word, using everything he does in your life to draw you in so that you may have more life. Not less life, more life, so you can be who he created you to be. That's what, when we say be like Jesus, yes, we're telling you be like Jesus, but really, if you try to be like Jesus, you become more like yourself because God made you, he wired you, and he made you a certain way. He wired you a certain way. And when you learn how to be like him, when you work on your heart, your soul, your mind, and get that rewired, man, you get to discover life, who you truly are, what he made you to do, and how you get to play a part in his glory. This is the greatest thing ever. The invitation for us, the invitation for us who are near and us who are far away, those who are close to him and those who are far away, is come in, come in, come in. And how he makes you come in? With his power and his authority. He draws you in with kindness and love. That's what he does. So until we get to the place where we say, man, I know these people over here or this over here, I know this in my past was abuse of an authority, abuse of a power, but Jesus' perfection, I can trust in his power. I can trust in his authority, man. You're going to hold yourself back from what God wants to do in your life. But sometimes, man, we don't trust Jesus because he rubs us the wrong way. We get to a command about sex or sexuality or identity. That's what we talk about now anyways. So we get to a command about sex, sexuality, identity. We get to a command about giving. We get to a command about this, about that. And we go, I don't know about that, Jesus. Or, a harder one to explain, you were trusting God for something and you feel like he didn't come through. And because of the situations or those commands, you're kind of really slow to trust him again. I wish I had the magical answer for that. I don't have the magical answer for that. But what I know is, over and over again in the Word, people are led to bad situation. People are in bad situation where it doesn't seem that God came through, and at the end of it all, something amazing happened. Case in point, Jesus. Jesus is in the garden before he goes crucified. He's on his knees. He is crying out to God. He's crying out so hard that the Bible says his sweat appeared to be blood. And what he's crying out about God for, he's saying, hey, God, I don't want to die. I don't want to die. I don't want to get beaten up. I don't want to be abused. I don't want to be laughed at. I don't want to be mocked. God, I don't want to do this. Like, I really, really do not want to do this. Is there any other way? Any other way at all? Just give me one more different way. Something else. Is there any other option? And as he's praying, he's saying that, he's praying, he's saying that, he ends his prayer saying, but God, I don't want to do things my way. I want to do things your way. And he goes, and he's mocked, and he's beaten, and he suffers, and he's hung on a cross, and he dies. If you end the story right there, you'd be like, man, God didn't come through. But we know the ending. God did came through. God used what was horrible, what was disgusting. He used it to save us. And even to this point, people are still benefiting from what God did. And I cannot explain every single hurt or every single pain, or every single letdown. But what I can tell you is, as he's drawing you in, because he will actively draw you in, something's going to happen to you where you're going to learn to trust him more. And you're going to see on this side of earth or the next how everything works out for the glory of those who love him. This is how Jesus did it. So we can do the same thing now. I don't care if you're far off. I don't care if you're near. He is drawing you in. He is drawing you in. The band could come up here right now. I'm going to start closing. He's drawing you in to come to him, to know him, to trust him, to follow him. He's drawing you in. And if you want to be in the outside and kind of just take it slow, he's fine with that. If you're in the inside, he's going to keep reminding you how he has moved time and time again and draw you in even closer. So how through faith in Jesus should we live now? There's two things we should do. One, we should come and rest in his authority. We need to stop making an ill word. We need to stop making a dirty word, and we need to rest in his authority. That's the easy one to say. Here's the hard one to say. Two, we got to wrestle. Not literally, figuratively. We got to wrestle. We got to wrestle with his authority. Now, how do we wrestle with his authority? We wrestle with his authority in community. I know, it always comes back to community, right? We wrestle with his authority in community. You got questions. You don't do it by yourself. No question is offensive. No question is offensive. You get with people and you deal with the questions. Questions about sexuality, question about identity, question about all things that are going on in the world right now. We have so many questions. How about this? How about that? You know what you do? In community, you wrestle with those questions. So I didn't tell this person I was sharing this story, but I'm going to share the story anyways. I have this person. I'm going to call her Nona. Nona. So Nona has questions. She always has questions. All right? She always had these questions, and she's always coming saying, hey, why is this way? Why is this person not healed? Why does God do this way? Why is this world so messed up? And you know what happens when she wrestles with those questions in the community? She grows closer to God. Now, I'm not saying she finds all her answers. I'm saying she grows closer to God. Along the way, she'll find some answers, but she grows closer to God. And we got this habit where I'm so tired of people saying Christianity doesn't work. When you have your questions and you rest them on your own, you don't come into a circle. You don't come into a community. You don't be honest about what you're wondering about. Like they're there. So we come and we rest in his authority, and we wrestle with his authority in community. This is why we tell you guys to get in a group. This is why we tell you guys to get in a circle. This is why we tell you guys, hey man, if you have a question, man, invite one of those pastors out. We'll talk to you. We have to wrestle together. I have questions. I have doubts. We have to wrestle together. And I'm telling you, as we wrestle together, God does something great in community. God does something, this is like my wholehearted belief. God does something so much greater than anything happening to me preaching up here or them singing up here, and they sing great. No, God does the most greatest, the most specialist things when you sit with someone one-on-one, two-on-two, three, 4, 5 people, and you talk about your issues, you talk about your junk. That's where God does the most awesome things. That's where God does the most awesome transformation. Read the Gospels. How many times did Jesus goes, tell a story to everyone, and then pull the disciples to the side and say, hey, guys, small group time. So what I was saying about that, how many times he does that over and over and over again in the Gospels, man. That is the model. That is the thing that we do. And if you don't wrestle with community, I give you a year. Hate to be harsh. I give you a year. 2 years ago, you probably should have wrestled with community, but you didn't, and you're gone already. But God being so great still uses his power and his authority to draw you in. So if you're here today and, man, you just want to know Jesus, I'm just going to invite you right now, whether you're in the house or online, to just to hit next step on the number you see right now on the screen. If you're here today and you're ready to wrestle in community, I'm just going to ask you right now to type the word next step on the screen, and we will help you with next steps. We'll help you with next steps to find Jesus and follow him, and we'll help you with next steps to find community and wrestle with your questions. No question is stupid. Every question is valid, and every question he cares about. So God, we just thank you for who you are. We thank you, God, that you use your power, your authority to draw us in, to draw us into your love, to draw us into your compassion, to draw us into your kindness. God, we thank you that you draw us in. God, I pray right now that every single thing, every single sign and miracle that has happened in our life points back to you. And we trust in you, and we believe in you, and we cling to you. God, I worship you right now. I praise you. In your precious name I pray. Amen. Amen. Right now, we're going to get ready to receive the tithes and the offering. I want to thank you guys again for being extremely generous during this time. Just keep being generous. Partner with us. Help us to bring out the truth about what Jesus is doing in our city, to bring it out into our community. There's 4 ways to give. The first way you can give is you can mail them in. You can give online. You give online, or you can text the number HELP to the number on the screen. And if you're in the house right now, you can also give on the back, the black things right now. You can drop your tithes and your offering in there. So that's really, really great. Now I'm going to pray a blessing over you guys, and we'll be out. God, help us to see that we have been crucified with Christ. That it's no longer I who live, no longer we who live, but Christ lives in us. God, help us to see that the life we live in the flesh will live for the Son of God, who loves us and gave himself up for us. God, we praise you and we worship you for all that you do. Let us trust in your authority. Let us trust in your wisdom. Let us rest in who you are. And let us wrestle. Let us wrestle about the things that we doubt in community with believers. Praise you. We worship you. Amen. Those of you guys joining us online, we'll see you guys next week.